That book walked so that this book could fly to, inhabit, culturalize, and dominate Mars. Oh, you're darn tootin'. You're darn tootin'. There were things that I was reading and relating to, and I was like, that's not good. Oh my God. Hey, what's up? Hello. It's Katie Colson. Welcome to, or back to, my channel. And we are here for quite possibly the most anticipated video of the year, best books of the year. I'm filming this on Christmas Day, so happy belated, merry belated Christmas, happy belated holidays. I don't know. When is it coming out?
Bruh.
You know what? Hold your horses. You know what? Hold them horses, okay? Some of us have lives. I'm not one of those people, but if I was, this would be a really good excuse. Given the facts, I have none. Okay, we are going to do 10 books, and they're in order, 10 to 1, but subjectively, they have wiggle room to go up and down on any given day because I'm not totally sure. So anyway, long ramble aside, let's get into book number 10. Book number 10. This is the most confusing one, okay? It's Pink Slime by Fernanda Trias, a novel translated by Heather Cleary. This was originally written in Spanish, I believe, and I did see on Goodreads people saying like, maybe there was something lost in translation.
Maybe I asked for too much, or maybe this thing was a masterpiece, till you translated it all up.
Hi. People saying that maybe the translation lost something. I didn't feel that way, personally. But the reason I'm saying this is so confusing, not only is the book confusing, I don't know why I like this so much. I don't know. I'd have to reread it because I was listening to this and I was like, oh, nobody's talking about this book. And I don't know anybody that's read it except Allie Do is reading. She turned me on to this. So thank you so much, girl. I picked it up because I was like, nobody's talking about it and it doesn't have good ratings. So I'm just going to listen to it and like fly through it. Every time I turned on my headphones to listen to this, engrossed. I loved it. I love the writing. I love the character. I love how just macabre, not macabre, but like melancholically depressing it is and just weird and not like, almost like foreboding, like a sense of suspense of like, I know something's wrong and I don't know what it is, but I'm scared, you know? So this, I want to give you a big heads up. A big heads up, okay? I'm so glad I did not read the summary of this book before I read it because I would have been confused and disappointed. Because Pink Slime, why is it called Pink Slime? You may be asking yourself. On the summary, it says that, where is it? Wait, I know it says it. Am I a liar? Oh my God, it doesn't. On Goodreads it does. Oh. Oops. Fact checked. Incorrect. Sorry. On Goodreads, it says that the main plot of this is that there is a plague-like thing that is taking everybody out, and that the only food that is safe to eat is this mysterious pink paste, this pink slime, that is created by this corporation, and nobody knows what it is, nobody knows what it's made of. When you read that, your immediate thought is Soylent Green. Your immediate thought is, tender as the flesh, I'm hearing something, I'm sensing something in the wind. They never talk about it. They never talk about the pink slime. There is 2 times that I can recall the words even being said in this book. It's not about that. Goodreads has done everyone so dirty, okay? Because if I had read that summary, I would have been so annoyed that they never talked about it. But because I had not read that Goodreads summary, and thankfully the summary of the actual book doesn't say that, God bless, this is in fact about a mysterious plague that is picking people off one by one. But really, it's about a main character, this woman, who is just so stubborn and is so set in the routine and her life, and she refuses to change even to the detriment of herself. Like, she is willing to stay there and die because she doesn't want to move. And I'm like, one, that's the most Floridian thing I've ever heard, for starters. Two, me refuses to change because I hate change, refuses to leave bad situations because I hate change.
Somebody help me.
Okay, this is a short novella. It was so odd. The writing of it's so odd. And I don't think it was lost in translation. I think that this author just had a really weird and unique way of writing the story. But some of the chapters are just these blocks. And one of them, it said, then after the hunger and thirst, after days of solitude, an ant passes and you look at it like you've never looked at an ant before. And you realize that the ant doesn't suffer. All that to figure out ants don't suffer. All that to figure out the one looking isn't me. What does that mean? I don't know, but it's stunning. Like, you can't sit there and tell me that wasn't stunning. That was good. So that's why it's number 10, is because I have to read it again. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this book is just purposely confusing and it's not good, but I loved it. So read it, but with trepidation. Book number 9 is perhaps my favorite cover of the year, and that is My Husband by Maud Ventura. I will tell you, every time I talk about this book, I cringe a little bit because saying like, oh, I love my husband. What? I'm not married. No. This is by Maud Ventura. This is also translated from... Oh my gosh. Norwegian? I am so sorry. Let me fact check myself real quick. Okay. I am here to make amends. This is not Norwegian or anywhere near Norway. Or the second option I thought, Iceland. No, it's French. It's French. I'm great. Very cultured. I don't know if you knew that about me. Have never been outside the United States. Does it show? It should. I grew up in Florida. It's as embarrassing as it sounds. This book is a little bit lower down on the list because I do understand people not liking this. I really loved it, but I didn't annotate, and I would have to read it again, which I always say that, and I'm so sorry. I know I'm so anal, but I didn't annotate it, but I had the time of my freaking life. I loved it. The epilogue made me want to go back to the beginning of the book and read it again. Yeah, that's crazy. So this is about a woman. She has a husband. We don't know his name. She just calls him my husband. And she's obsessed with this man. And I mean obsessed. Like, hand that rocks the cradle, but like for your husband. You know what I'm saying? She only thinks about him. She only does anything for him. Everything she does is to test him, to prove that he loves her. So like, say when they're dating, she would do all these like little tests to be like, oh, like, does he love me? And then she was like, oh, well, will he marry me? Or will he propose? So when he does that, she's like, okay, but is he going to marry me though? And then when they get married, she's like, oh, well, he could just leave at any time. What if we buy a house and then we're like locked with this like contract? So they do that. And then she's like, well, if I had a kid with him, he can't leave me for 18 years. So she has a kid with him. And then she's like, oh, I need another 18 years. So she has another kid with him. And it's just more and more and more. And nothing is ever good enough because she has rampant mental disorders. I'm not going to say what they are because I'm not a mental professional. I do not know. But I will say that as someone with OCD, I recognized OCD in this woman very much. And I kind of had to take a step back and reflect because there were things that I were? Katie, can you be translated? There were things that I was reading and relating to. And I was like, that's not good. The one that I'll tell you about, because I don't want to spoil anything, is basically there's something that the guy does when they're sleeping that she says makes it a little bit harder for her to sleep. Not like she can't sleep or she's waking up in the middle of the night, but it takes her a little bit longer to fall asleep each night. And she's like, I know it's only a few minutes, but if I add up those minutes of every single night of my life, that's going to shave a year off my life. That is time that's going to get taken from me because I'm losing a little bit of sleep. I was listening to it and I was like, yeah, she's right.
Bruh.
This is where my brain goes. This is where my brain goes. I'm not joking. At work, if somebody complains because they're like, oh my God, I just got double sat, or like, oh my God, I'm always like, shut up. don't say that, because then you're going to get a little earworm into the manager's head that we need more servers. Like, that's the way my brain works. Anyway, I really love this. She is very repetitive. You're only in this woman's head. It is a just constant. Does he love me? What should I do? Blah, blah, blah. But there's ways in which she does crazy things that would have me gagged. And I would be like, wait, what? Like, she would offhandedly, this is not something that happens, but just imagine, I'm gonna give you an example of something that could have happened that would kind of give you the idea of what gagged me. Is like, say she would find an old purse and in it would be an old wallet and there would be an ID and she would be like, oh, it's my photo. And then she would say the name of the ID, but it's not her name. And you're like, what? Like, that doesn't happen, but stuff like that would gag you in that way happened. If that makes sense. I'm sure it doesn't. Anyway, I really love this. And again, I'm telling you, the epilogue. If you're not an epilogue girl, you have to read the epilogue of this. It's not what you think. Trust me, it's not what you think. Please read it. Also, again, let's give it up for the gown. This covers everything. Another one that needs explanation, okay? Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. I had a great time. Listen, am I saying that this should win a Pulitzer Prize? Indubitably not. Indubitably no. Is this well written? No. And I'll say that with the breadth of my breast, okay? No, this is not well written. Is it well executed? No. It's so fun though. It's so fun. I was giggling, I was laughing, I was kicking my little feet. There's a talking toad. Well, he doesn't talk, but he holds up signs for what he wants to say. Kingsley, I love him. And I love all the characters and I just think it's so cute. Now, I understand if you don't like this book. I truly get it, because if somebody told me about this book, I would be like, ew, like that sounds terrible. So I get it. And I'm truly shocked to be telling you that I gave this 4.75 stars. And the only reason I docked off 0.25 is because I have to admit that it's not well written. Do you understand? This is the second book, the first of which being Assistant to the Villain, which is right there. There's gonna be a third book, and now I'm really curious. Okay, so the first one, purple, red. Next one, red, purple. What's the third one gonna be? You kind of ran out of colors real fast there.
The decision making wasn't very clever.
Anyway, things are falling. I am not gonna break anything. Not on this day of our Lord. Hi. Apprentice to the Villain. This is the second book. So the concept of the series in general is that there is a really sunshine, everything is optimistic, nothing can get her down. She's just a ray of light. Stumbles upon the villain, which is what he's called. There's no name, it's just the villain. Because he's so synonymous in this town as evil and like so bad and lurking and like, oh my God, if there's a shadow, oh my God, is it the villain? She stumbles across him when she is really, really down bad. Like she needs money really badly and something bad has happened to her and her family. And he's like,
I mean, I need an assistant. Do you want to be my assistant?
and she's like,
Oh my God, yeah, cool. Like, I'll start working for you.
and he's all like grumpy and like misunderstood, you know? And she's all sunshine and he's like,
You know, I thought I would hate you. But I don't. What's happening to me?
and if you think that sounds simple in fanfiction, you're correct. You are correct. I don't know what it is that has me eating out of the palm of its hand. I truly don't know. It is cheesy. It's ridiculous. And I loved it. I loved it. But I will tell you, this is truly like the girls that get it. And the girls that don't. But the girls that get that the girls that don't. I feel like you know what I'm saying. Book number 7. Nobody's going to be shocked. They're just going to be shocked that it's not higher up on the list. And that is A Grave Robbery by Deanna Raybourn. Now, the reason that it's farther down is because I actually gave this 4 stars, I think like 4.25, because it's not the best in the series. It's not. But the series is 6 stars shooting into the sun. You can shoot me into the sun, and as long as my eyes remain safe and the wind can flip the pages, I'll be good. I love the series so much. This is the 9th book. This is about Veronica Speedwell a lepidopterist or a butterfly hunter who is way ahead of her time because it's set in 1888, I believe, London. And she's in her like mid 20s. At this point, she's in like her later 20s. And she runs into this man, Stoker, Revelstoke Templeton Vane, Daddy. He is a taxidermist, and he's just this big, giant pirate man. And they just so happen to consistently, and weirdly enough, find themselves in the middle of murder investigations. Or other such mysteries, like missing people, missing objects, cursed tombs. The fun goes on and on and on. And I'm telling you, I loved it. I was kicking my feet reading this. The reading vlog for this is so much fun. I was squealing the entire time. And you might see that and be like, you were literally freaking out. Like, why did you give it a 4 or like a 4.25? Because if this was a standalone, we'd be telling a different story. We'd be telling a whole different tale, okay? But if you've read A Sinister Revenge, if you've read A Dangerous Collaboration, if you've read A Curious Beginning, you understand why this is a 4.25. Because those...
It's over 9,000!
You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to hold space. We have to hold space for that. I will say pick up the audiobook because Angel Masters is Veronica Sweetwell. They are synonymous in my mind. When I physically read it, I'm hearing Angel Masters. So yes, please pick up these books so that she will continue to get paid and continue to write them just for me. I feel like book number 6 is like kind of crazy. Like it seems weird for it to be this high. But The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn. The reason that I say it seems crazy, I'm sorry, I think it's like 70 pages. Oh my gosh, not even 70 pages. Stop. It's 62 pages. And the writing is like big. How is this in my top 10 of the year? Because it's that good. Maybe it's because I've been just biting at the bit to get more of Gillian Flynn's writing. Because if you don't know, she's the one that wrote Gone Girl, National Treasure. She wrote Dark Places and Sharp Objects, all of which are phenomenal books. This, if you're doing a readathon, if it's Halloween night and you need something to read, pick this up. Pick it up. It's so good. I don't understand how she packs so much into such, not just few pages, but small pages and big font. But Gillian Flynn can do it. If there is one person that can do it, it's Gillian Flynn. What is this about? Let me be vague because it's so short. There is a woman who works as like a psychic, a fake psychic. And a woman comes to her and is like, oh my God, my house is like haunted. And like, there's something wrong with my son. And like, oh my God, like I think he's possessed. And she's like, oh, I can help you with that for money. And then you meet the boy. Yeah. Damon? What's the name of Lucifer's son? Yes, read it. It won't take you any time at all. And I'm telling you, like, the fact that I read this so quickly and I bought this physical book means that it's damn good. Oh, real quick. I just want to read you the first sentence. Just the first sentence. When I tell you Gillian Flynn, she does not shy away from writing that bitch. Okay? Her female characters shy away from no one. No one. And this is just hysterical. The first line is, I didn't stop giving hand jobs because I wasn't good at it. I stopped giving hand jobs because I was the best at it. Context? None. Book number 5 could easily have been book number 1. All of the 5s, or 5 through 1, I feel like could have easily been number 1. And number 5 is Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. One, the tabbing. Oh, she's glorious. She's glorious. What a gorgeous gown. Love it. But this writing took me to another planet. Took me to another planet. What do you mean? So this is something that I would definitely suggest to read with a book club for sure, though you would have to put like some trigger warnings on it, obviously. But if you don't know, it doesn't say it in the summary, which it's good for that. But this is a retelling, fictionalized account of the Ted Bundy massacre that happened at the Florida University. So this is not ever says his name. We never even know what this character's name is supposed to be. It's only the defendant. So the book's not about him. The book's about the women. So it's called Bright Young Women because infamously, the judge on Bundy's case said that he was, oh my God, I just realized that there's a guy in the eyes. Hold on. You have to see this. What? Do you see that? There's a man. Can it focus? There's a man. Oh my God, I lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. The judge, whenever he was convicting Bundy, he said that this was such a shame because you are such a bright young man, and I would have loved for you to be a lawyer in my court. A bright young man? He murdered so many people. What are you talking about? Also, he was an idiot. He was an idiot. Like, just because you're charismatic doesn't mean you're intelligent. This follows, for the most part, the head of the sorority, a girl that I related to so much. It had me crying. She is the one who Bundy is escaping, and she sees him, but she doesn't like see all of it. She just like sees a flash of him. And we're following her discovering these friends that have been murdered, and the trial and the media and the police, and how it was all so grossly mishandled, and just the power of the media and the power of the perspective that can completely change reality, where people think about Ted Bundy and they think, oh my God, he was so handsome and he was so charming and like he was so smart. Wrong. None of that's true. None of it. But they shaped, the media shaped our brains into romanticizing him and romanticizing the events in a gross way, a truly disturbing way. And this book did such a good job of pointing that out. I loved it, and the writing is so freaking good. But this is what I meant by pointed it out so well. Law enforcement would rather we remember a dull man as brilliant than take a good look at the role they played in this absolute sideshow. And I am sick to death of watching them in their press shirts and cowboy boots and their comfortable leather interview chairs in hugely successful and critically acclaimed crime documentaries, Netflix, talking about the intelligence and charm and wiliness of an ordinary misogynist. This story is not that. The story is not that.
I said what I said,
As
and
always.
I'm not changing on it, okay?
Nope. My mouth's too dry. Hold on. We need a perfect click. We're not gonna get there. Damn. I keep wanting to apologize that the books that aren't one because they should be. Heartless by Elsie Silver. This is the second book in the Chestnut Spring series. And I know, you're gooped, you're gagged. What do you mean, Katie Colson? 5 stars, best of the year, cowboy romance?
Oh, you're darn tootin'. You're darn tootin'.
This book had me, when people would walk by, I would go,
I know you're not about to walk by and not say howdy.
That's where I was. I was living in that. I'm still kind of living in it, to be honest. Look at the tabs. It's cowboy romance. Cowboy romance? Never have I ever. The first book I liked. That book walked so that this book could fly to, inhabit, culturalize, and dominate Mars. That was long-winded and took a really crazy turn. But you get what I'm saying. This is about, okay, it's a farm, Chestnut Springs, okay, and the Eatons are a family that everybody loves, and Brett Eaton, he has very, Rip from Yellowstone, like, looks, but not really, like, necessarily the personality, but, like, a little bit. And then this girl, Willa, is a bartender, and her best friend is the one from the first book who's with another one of the brothers, and she's like, oh my God, like, I need a job for the summer, and, Summer, which is the name of the best friend, is like, oh my God, actually, one of Rhett and Brett? There's no way. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. His name's Cade. Rhett and Brett. Katie, be so God honest for real. His name's Cade, which is way hotter than Brett. Sorry to all the Bretts out there, but the Cades do dominate in that territory. She's like, oh my God, Rhett's brother Cade really needs like a babysitter and nanny. So like, you should totally do it because he's going to pay good money. They have a very interesting meet cute where her underwear accidentally falls out of her bag and he grabs it in the middle of a Starbucks and realizes that he's holding her thong in his hands. And she tells him, you know what, you keep it, and then leaves. And then later on that day, goes to the interview, and it's that man. But the banter is so good because she's like, really? Well, then where's my underwear? And he's like, shocked. And she's like, yeah, I knew it. You kept it. The banter's so good. She's a redhead, which we all know is my weakness. Okay. This was actually so hot. Like, one of these tabs is for sexy. That's me. Me. An asexual aromantic? I'm telling you to read this. Okay, if you read the first one and you think it's okay, that's totally fine. So did I. Read Heartless. This is in different areas. It's in different areas. But again, I can't wait to continue with the series. Elsie Silver, she had me locked and loaded. Oh, sorry. I forgot that I had 2 little notes in here. Okay. One is, she stops shoving stuff into her bag and turns to face me, crosses her arms beneath her generous breasts, and cocks a hip. If attitude were a person, she'd be it. Beg. Pardon me? You heard me. Her lips don't even twitch. She's not joking at all. Beg. I was sat. I couldn't have been more sat. I was on the floor sat. There was no chair needed. This should feel dirty, a bit playful, but it feels like worship, and he's not even touching me. Galileo? Galileo? Shakespeare? Sylvia Plath? Sappho? Bars. Another absolutely glowing 5-star. A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. The video that I made of Gabby and Gavin and I reading this book, buddy reading it, buddy vlogging, is the video I'm most proud of other than my best books, according to Booktubers videos. I love that video so much. We really did the thing with this. It's not that long. It is so exquisitely written. Like, this author, it's written pretentiously for a reason, okay? So if you are starting to read it and you're like, oh my God, like, this author's so full of themselves. No, this character is so full of themselves. And I feel like Chelsea G. Summers wrote it perfectly. This is about a food journalist, okay? So because the age of journalism is getting to be not as well pronounced because we have like TikTok and Twitter and all these things that are like more easily accessible to information. So this woman is like the heyday of, you're not going to take my crown, okay? I'm the best and nobody can say otherwise. So she is very pretentious about it. So she also loves food, obviously, because she goes out and eats Michelin star restaurant meals every day and writes about it in scathing reviews. One day, okay, well, before this, she already wasn't normal. Okay, when we talk about a myriad of mental disorders, I'm not going to try to diagnose whatever's going on here. No. One day, something happens to her lover. Something in which their liver is outside of their body for some reason. She walks up and she's like, that's a liver. Oh, it's my lover's. Oh, what should I do? And she wraps it up and she takes it home. Doesn't even think about it. She's just like, well, I mean, it's there. That's littering. I mean, that's littering at that point. So she wraps it up, takes it home, and she cooks it with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. Yeah, I hated myself for doing that. And I understand if you hated me for doing it too. But yeah, she cooks it up and she eats it and she's like, oh, I think we're onto something. I think we're onto something. And then she has a taste for it. So she becomes a serial dater, murderer, organ eater. Let's see that on a business card, because that would be sickening. And I will also say that her and her best friend, oh my God, I loved that relationship. Let's see the 2 quotes that I wanted to read out here. Okay. I learned that being female is as prefab, thoughtless, soulless, and objectively capitalist as a Big Mac. It's not important that it's real. It's only important that it's tasty. Junk food was rebellion. Rebellion was femininity. Femininity was junk. What do you mean? What do you mean? But this one, y'all. In America, our girlfriends teach us what love, trust, and desire are. They hold our hands as we navigate the sila of sex. With them, we are our truest, most essential selves. We don't have to be pretty, but we heap praise upon one another when we are. We don't have to be nice, and we forgive each other when we aren't. With our friends, our guard tumbles like acrobats, falls like leaves, and swirls in glittery, dusty eddies. That face we keep up in front of everyone else. Family, lovers, husbands, or children, we let slide. Our friends see the frailties, the insecurities, the unattractive bits that we have to keep hidden from the rest of the world because, and this is the meat of the matter, pun, it's hard work to be a woman. It's a full-time job. Our female friends, the close ones, are the mini breaks we take from the work it requires to keep up performance of being female. I mean, she said it, not me, but I will repeat it at any point for any reason. I know this is so annoying, but I was sitting here trying my darndest to pick which one should be book 2 and which one should be book 1. And I can't. What do you think is tying for book 1? Or book 1, number 1 book of 2024? Mostly for the same reasons. What do you think? Because I so seriously cannot decide which one I should put as number 1. For a hot minute, I had both going back and forth, and I would come back and go, no. And then I would be like, oh, perfect, that's actually it. Leave, come back from work. No, oh my God, I'm crazy. Move it. Okay, for right now, for this particular moment in time, book number 2 is Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. This annotation.
Super tasty soup.
Unwell. Unhinged. Disturbed. What do you mean? Also, I've got to show you, what in the world was I talking about? That's crazy. What do you mean? Wait, and then, what? Who has the time? Who has the time? And I physically read this. And I'm telling you, I was gobbling up every freaking second. I am obsessed with this. Is this book number 1? Should this be, maybe this should have been book number 1. I think it should have been so long since I read it that I'm like telling myself, like, Katie, it's a contemporary romance. Like, you loved it, but then I slapped myself in the face. And then I just, I slapped myself in the face. Like, no, this is stunning. I get it if you don't like this book. I get it. This is another book that has icks that are so strong that if it's an ick for you, no, I get it. You're going to hate it. Okay. And what I mean by that is this is a love story. I wouldn't necessarily call it a romance. I call it a love story because there's never any happiness ever. But this is following a group of 20-something-year-old rich friends in London who are basically the gossip girls of this town, and even like paparazzi will follow them around because they are that infamous and beautiful and fun, and they're always doing like really dramatic reality show type shit, to each other. I think this is one of the most well-written books I've ever read in my entire life. And if you get it, you get it. I love this. This is fantastic for specific readers. Okay. The reason I say the tropes and toxic, BJ, the male love interest, he cheats on her a lot. Like a lot. Because in my opinion, he's a sex addict. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know how to defend myself, okay? They go back and forth hurting each other. She will think that he slept with somebody else, so she'll go and be seen in the paparazzi, like kissing somebody else or seemingly dating somebody else, and then he'll see it and he'll be like, oh my God, like she's left me, she's moved on, and he'll get all upset, and because he's a sex addict, he will basically angrily go and sleep with somebody else, and then she'll find out, and she's like, I knew it, blah, blah, blah. So she'll do more stuff to upset him, but then they'll be like, they'll talk it out, or they won't, and they'll just be missing each other, and they'll come back together, and it's like, oh my God, if y'all could just talk about things without just assuming the worst, even though you should assume the worst because y'all are both the worst. And I'm saying all that, and I'm telling you that I love them so much. Okay, I'm just gonna read you a couple little quotes because the writing is so good and I love it. Okay. Our eyes hold like our hands won't. I love you, he blinks. Prove it, I sigh. They read each other so well. No one in the world will ever know BJ like Magnolia, and no one will ever know Magnolia like BJ, and I will die on that hill happily. Oh my God, stop. The second thing that I turn to, this is it. This is the only thing I'm gonna read. the only other thing I'm going to read. Because are you joking? This is like, in Pride and Prejudice, the hand touch, and then he like clutches his hand, and we've all been thinking about it for years and years. That's this moment. Okay. But in literature form. I remember it like a physical punch in the gut. How much I loved him. Really loved him. To the bone loved him. Cut me and I'd bleed him. How much I needed him, still needed him, would forever, always, never, couldn't, even if I tried, needed him. Cut me and I'd bleed him. I can't. And we have book number 2, 1, second one, first one, I don't know. Someone You Can Build a Nest In by John Wiswell. This book was written for me. It was written for me. Every single thing about this book is perfect to me. Also, the fact that this is written by a man with a J name? What? John Wiswell, you are keeping secrets from us because there is no way that's your true identity. Because a man with a J name wrote this? In what universe? Not ours. Not this one. Not planet Earth. This is about Shisheshan. And I swear, I don't think I've ever heard a single person say the name correctly. Shisheshan is a monster of sorts, or what their society deems to be a monster. She is a shapeshifter, but the way that she shapeshifts is she will consume people, animals, objects, and use them as her limbs and as different body parts. So that's why she's so incredibly strong and resilient, is because, like, say if somebody goes to like shoot her, she's like, oh, my rib cage is a stone or like a boulder kind of thing. And it's just so weird and so descriptive. And when I tell you that it's horror, it's fantasy, it's gay, it's gay. Maybe the most gay, maybe the gayest. Possibly the gayest of all time. It's like a fairy tale, but fucked up. But you're swooning and giggling and kicking your little feet and also hoping some of the characters die. And then pumping your fists in the air when they do die. That kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? No? Cool. I think that if you love Shauna Maguire, I would give this a shot. If you like T. Kingfisher, I want you to give this a try. Because I think that if you were into that kind of writing, I think you could be into this. And I will tell you that it is horror, and while you're having such a good time, it's very easy to forget that this is horror while you're reading it and after you're reading it. But there are moments in this that are so descriptive, and we just have to let her rock. We have to let her rock, okay? Continue. Let me cook. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, that are so just viscerally descriptive of horror that it will turn your stomach. It will. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, he goes for it. So basically, Shisheshan is sleeping, hibernating in her little hovel, because she can't go into the town because everybody's scared of her and wants to kill her. And a couple dudes do come to try and kill her. And she wakes up like, oh my God, hello? I was actually like sleeping? Like, this is actually really rude. So I guess I'll kill you because I need a snack. So she's like killing them, eating them. And one of them gets away and it's like, tells the town people like, oh my God, the monster is real and the monster's like killing us. So there's like all these people are trying to find Shisheshan and kill her. And she stumbles upon a woman named Homily. Both of them are like 30. I don't know. Homily is this really sweet woman who loves to bake and take care of people. And Shisheshan is injured and she wakes up and Homily's taking care of her. And she's never had a human being be anything but vile and disgusting toward her. So she's taken off guard, but then kind of is like, okay, maybe I can use her to kind of masquerade and not be caught. And then Homily just thinks that Shisheshan is a weird human. And anytime Shisheshan will do anything monster-y like or shapeshifter like, Homily's like, oh, you're so funny. Oh my God, you're crazy. But like in the sweetest, most heartwarming way. And when you see Shisheshan as a monster come into contact with human sympathy and compassion and kindness and love, Gorgiana. gorgiana. There is so many things I could read out of this because I tandem read it because the audiobook's really good, but I had to physically be following along with it. Every single page, because I was highlighting, I was tabbing, I was writing, drawing, I was freaking out. Now I'm gonna read you something from the first page. But listen, it's the first page. It's the first page and it's crazy, so you need to hear it. But all childhoods end. Hers ended when one of her sisters bit off Shisheshin's left heel. Yep, that's how we start out. Her siblings matured too quickly and hungered for more than their father. Oh, by the way, the father's the one that carries the eggs, and then the children eat their way outside of him. It's great. It's great. Anyway, Shisheshin had to defend herself using jagged fragments of their father's pelvis, his final and most gracious gift. The assault was a gift from her siblings too, for she spent a week dining on their savory carcasses. I'm sorry, why am I like, ah? Okay. Mourning as in like the feeling of mourning, wasn't natural to her. She missed the succulence of her siblings for some time and had the errant moment of nostalgia for sharing their body heat. Little of her prey was memorable. Of her mother, she only remembered her wide maw and the artificial steel fangs she'd worn. Still, Shisheshin would always miss the nest that her father had made out of himself. He had been a good parent and a better setting.
Bruh.
That's the first page. He had been a good parent and a better setting. She ate that man. She ate her sisters. And this is my favorite character. I love her so much. Oh my God, Shisheshin for president. Shisheshin as a saint. Saint Shisheshin. Oh, that works. Yeah. But when I tell you it's so gay, it's so good. Okay. Please read this. I don't think that this has been read enough. I don't think it's being talked about enough. I freaking love it. Look at the tabs. They say everything. Look at the tabs again. They're saying everything again. Oh my God, thank you so much. Yes. Okay, I am so excited to have filmed that. I'm excited that I got to talk about all those books. I hope that I described them well enough and that I really sold them to you. And that's what I want to know in the comments down below. Are there any of these books that you either read because of me or that you now are going to read because of me? I think that's so interesting hearing that because one, it always shocks me, the books that y'all feel I sold to you. Like, I don't know, it's just very interesting. Like the ones that you're like, oh my God, you made me want to read that. And I'm like, but not this one. I don't know. I mean, my personality does strange things and it does its own thing. You know what I'm saying? So if either of those are true, let me know. And if you have gotten this far into the video, I want you to leave a deer and a red heart. A red heart. I'm sorry. Keep it basic, keep it true, keep it moving. Speaking of keep it moving, let's wrap this up. Okay, I have a Patreon in which I'm really doing so well at right now. Like, Katie, don't have the rings flying. Yes! Okay. So I have that link down below if you want to follow me on there. I will also have my Instagram and Goodreads link down below if you care to follow me on any other platforms. And I say all of that and hope that you are having an amazing day, evening, night, dusk, dawn, whatever it is you're having in whatever part of the world you are currently having it in. And I'll see you in a video coming very soon. No fingers crossed. Very soon. Bye. Okay, but now I have to actually clean up all these little pieces of paper that I flew around. And I know I'm not going to get all of them. And in like a month, I'm going to find one behind a book. How many times have I done this? Foolish one, stop checking the floor for scraps of paper that you threw before. You will never learn your lesson. Okay, that kind of works.
The library, darlings. Because reading is what? Fundamental. That's right. That's right.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest.